Hello, welcome to Oz Scalemodeling, and welcome to a new build video of this. So this is the 4x4 military truck, and the number is G7107 with crew, and it's made by MiniArt. And I've been meaning to build this for quite a while. I've been inspired by another modeler, and his name is Donahue. And I suggest you go over, visit Jeff, have a look at his YouTube channel. He made a similar version to this. It's a coal truck carrying coal. Absolutely amazing. Go over there, take a look, like his video, subscribe to his channel, check him out. I'll leave a link down in the description below, and check out Jeff. But he inspired me to start on this one, and I know you've been waiting for me to start. Well, here we go. I've been putting it off because I had a couple other models. The Queen Mary was taking me a long time, and then I went 5 weeks holidays overseas. But now we're ready to start this. So this is a 135 scale, and it comes with a bit of photo etch in there as well. And yeah, so let's get started, hey? First of all, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and you're welcome to go through, and there's lots of build videos through there. There's kit reviews, tons of stuff of interest there. Hit that notifications bell so you get notified of when I upload new videos, which is at least once a week. And if you like my videos, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like, well, let me know by hitting the thumbs down twice. And if you're inclined to comment below, you're welcome to. I love getting comments and reading them, and so do other people who are watching the video. If you've got any useful information or thoughts or tips for me. This will be the third vehicle I've ever built. The first one was a tank, which I built. My last video, which I've just done recently, was a VW camper van by Revell. And this one now I'm really looking forward to. Apparently the detail in this is supposed to be good. The equipment that comes with, there's a few options to do this tank as well, so we'll go into it. Now, I've done the review of this kit and the box opening. That's in the playlist, so you're welcome to go back and take a look at that before you start watching the series of the build, to get an idea of what we're heading towards. And if you've got an interest in building this, well, you can get an idea of what you're going to get in your purchase. All right, so as I always do, let's organize myself here and work out how we're going to confront this this task. All right, I'll be back shortly. Okay, so let's get things organized here. First of all, we need to check inside of our instructions. Our photo etch. I'm not going to go through all these sprues. I've done all that on the unboxing, which you can go and see. But there's photo etch in here. We've got some clear parts and decals all on that. I'm going to keep all the sprues probably together in the box, so they're not going to get lost. Now for the instructions, let's just take a quick look at the body. So we've got a few choices here. There's three choices of vehicle type. First of all, we can do the 12th Armour Division, 7th Army, dated 1943 to 1944, which will look like that. The star on the door and the bonnet. It looks quite good. and then fairly similar from what I can see is the 298th Engineer Combat Battalion, 1st Army in France, summer of 1944. The differences I see there are mainly location of the sticker on the decal on the back. Most everything just looks about the same. And then the last version back here is the Brazilian Expeditionary Force in Italy, 1945. Has no decals on the door or the bottom, or very few decals actually. So I haven't decided on that one, which one yet. Now, as for the color callouts, they're all here. And if you want to pause that and get a screenshot, you can do that. I've already been through all of these. I'm going to do this in Tamiya paints because of the availability. I've gone through and here's the paints I need, but I am missing a few. What I'm missing is the XF75 grey, which would be mostly the body of the tank of the truck, which I've just ordered. I've ordered 2 jars of that, probably definitely more than I need, but anyway. There was also olive drab, which I didn't have. Oh yes, I do. I have olive drab. The khaki color is the color I didn't have, so I've ordered one of those. There was one more color. Let me just check what that was. Okay, so it was the XF63, which is a German grey. I didn't have that, so I've got 3 bottles I've just ordered. They'll be here within a few days. Okay, all right, so I'll go quickly put this over where my airbrush is in the other room, and we'll come back and have a look at where we've got to go with the instructions. Okay, so where were we? Sprue count. Everything is there. I've already checked that. No problem. There's our key to all the symbols. Things like do not cement, make 2 of, usual, are all there. And here we go. So this is the first time I've built a MiniArt model. I'm just looking at the layout of the instructions here, and it's quite a busy looking instruction book with parts everywhere. Now, I've been told by other modelers that one of the good ways of doing this is to mark off the areas that each step refers to. It just makes it easy to look at what you're doing on the page. So that's something I'm going to do. And also with the sprues, I'm going to keep them all in that box there, but they're no good being in a bag all mixed up like this. You know, when it calls for, say, sprue A or C or whatever letter, I start searching through all this for it. It's going to be a bit difficult. So I'm going to put little tags on each sprue and label them so I can see what their number is. I'll use a bit of yellow tape, might be the best way, and that way I'll know just from a distance there's the one I got to reach for. Just make things life a little bit easier, because there's a really lot of small parts in here, and I don't want to be shuffling through with the chance of knocking parts off, or worse, breaking parts off. Yeah, so I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to get all organized now. It'll take me a little bit of time, and we'll be back and we'll get ready to start on step 1. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, so I'm back, and I've got all these sprues all labeled. There's quite a lot of them. I didn't count them, but they've all got little yellow tags on there now, so I can quite easily see what I'm looking for. That'll make that job a lot easier. I also went through the manual and divided the pages up into their steps. And I'm glad I did, because it is extremely confusing. There are parts you put together here that may not get used until 2 pages later. There's also parts where the order goes. See, you got 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So you're sort of going up and down across the page, but with them divided up into sections, I know exactly what I'm looking at and what I've got to build and the order they're going. So that will certainly make things a lot easier. All right. So now we're at the point where we need to begin. So first thing first, page 6, step 1. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark off everything that I do. So what I will do is I'm thinking about putting a circle around the piece, because I'm going to take off the pieces for each section, all off the sprues where they come from. So I'll circle them as I take them off, and then as they get installed on the truck, they'll get a cross through them. So I know that not only that they've been taken off and they're installed, because there are going to be some build some parts, for instance this fuel tank, and there's a few pieces to that, so I may need to put that aside and then put it on in my next session of building. The same when you come across sections that don't go onto the model until a page or 2 later. So there's going to be a bit of sub-assemblies going on here. And because I only have them circled, I know that they're set aside, but they're not actually on the model yet. That's the plan, so hopefully that's going to work out. All right, so let's get started. I think we'll start with the chassis rails along here. We need EA2 and EA1. Let me see if I can find the sprue easily. Okay, so I found EA, and the 2 is the number. So a little bit confusing because we've got 2 letters for 1 sprue. So the letters are the sprue, number is the part. So that's EA 2 and 1, and there they both are on there. Okay, so let's take these off and make a start. The instructions, by the way, I'm going to need to put them somewhere safe too and out of the road. So let me just figure out where that's going to go. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've got a little table beside me to put the instructions on so they're not in my way. So let's get this off. I will do my best to keep everything within view on camera. I know I have a habit of drifting off camera. There we go. There's 1. 2. I've got another little trick I'm testing while I'm building. I like listening to music while I'm building, but obviously because of YouTube I can't listen to music while I'm recording. So I used to have to get up, walk over to the computer behind me, turn the music off every time I want to start working and recording. And it was quite a pain. Now, just remember that's number 1 there. And so what I've got now is I've got these earbuds I bought duty free while I was overseas, and they're wireless Bluetooth, and I just pop them in my ears, and then I use my mobile phone over here to listen to my favorite music, and I can do that while I'm recording. How's that? Okay, so now I need to sand all these little nubs here and smooth them all off. And I think I will do that after I take the other pieces off. What I'm going to do is get a container. What I usually do is I buy these cheap containers. It's about $2 for about 20 of them. And I use them for putting the parts in, so I'm not going to lose anything. And if I've got anything really delicate I want to put aside, I'll fold a paper towel and put that in there as well. Okay, so we'll put those 2 in there. We'll move on to the next parts. Another thing I bought and I use are these little shot glass plastic containers with lids, and these are good for really small parts if you don't want to lose. They're also good for mixing paint. Yeah, you can mix paint in them, add your thinner and put your lid back on, and they'll be fine for a week in those containers. Very handy. All right, where are we? Up the right way would help. So we need sprue A, and there's 3 pieces, I think. Yeah, we've got 3 pieces to come off sprue A, which is cross members on the chassis. Let's go and we'll get sprue A out. That's easy, it's the biggest one. And we need number 34 and 59. Okay, 34. And 59. 59. All right. And then the other one was 54. It's good to see all these parts are in order rather than spread all over the place. 54. I'm just checking the shape, make sure that's cut off properly. 54. Yeah. 54. Is that one? All right. Now there's a separate piece A here, that they've got here that needs to be built separately. Those parts are easy to identify, so I'll put them all in the box. I'm not going to clean up all the pieces on camera. It's pretty obvious how we just sand those up nicely. So now I'll do this section here. We need A74 and A53. So there's A74. 74. Oh, 74 and 53. 53's here. And then there's A63, 62, 63 is a very small piece. Maybe there somewhere. There it is there, A63. Just gonna... Okay. There it is. Very good. I've noticed a bit of flashing, actually quite a lot of flashing on the sprue, but most of them are on the actual sprue itself and not on the pieces. So that's quite good. I don't know if you can see that around those edges there, all the way through a lot of this sprue. But the actual pieces are fine, there's nothing on them, they're nice and sharp and clean. Okay. All right, so that's all I need for step one. I'm just going to go now and sand them all up, get those little cut-off joints all cleaned up, and we'll come back and put it together. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, so we're back and I've got all these parts all sanded up for step one. All the little bits and pieces all trimmed off and sanded back. Now I'm just looking at how they're going together and making sure these are in the right orientation as it has in the instructions. We've got a cross member piece that goes in here, and make sure it's facing the right way, and there is a little location spot in there where that's going to sit. So it's going to sit in there like that. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'll glue this one in first, then we'll move on to this next piece, and then I'll probably come along and we'll do the other sides. That might be the easiest way. All right, so what we need is our cement. So this will be the first piece we glue. And should be fine. Make sure it's the right way around and it's sitting in there like it should. Looks good. Just going to touch that like that. There we go. The good thing about this glue is it just wicks across the whole area. You only need the tiniest little bit, and your part's in. So that bit's in. Then we need number A59, which is this one. Again, this is going to go in here. Just checking the location for it is there. Again, there's a little location point in there for it to sit. That looks right. It's facing the right way. It's going to sit in there. And yep. It's going to go like that. Just touch a bit of glue in there. Right, give it a bit more round on each side. Like that. No worries. Then we have one more. I just noticed under here there's a bit of sprue connected on the inside there that needs to be trimmed off, so I'll wait till that's dry and I'll cut that off. This has the same thing on this one here. It shouldn't interfere with anything, but just in case, we will take that off. It's just a matter of doing it like that. It's done. Now this one is going to go this way. No, it's going to go that way. It's going to sit where these two location points are in there. So if we can get that to stand up, that should sit in there like that. Some very small parts here. These aren't even anywhere near the smallest. Okay, just trying to. I always try to test fit things first, and that's it there. Bit of glue in there. Touch that. That's it. Sure that's sitting properly, which it is. There you go. And it's facing the right way, most important. Yes. Good. For a second there, I thought it was the wrong way because I was looking at it from the wrong. This is actually that side, looking at this way. What's going on? So that's the three pieces there, and we'll just bring this across and have a look, and you can see if I put it here, we got this, this, and this sitting here, and now we got to put this together, which will go on the end, which I just realized I've done wrong. Quickly take that off. This piece actually goes further up. It goes in here. And I'm glad I checked that. It's not good that I'm making a mistake already. Make sure that's glued in. All right. How did I mess that up? All right, just have to take my time a bit more. Okay. So yeah, so this piece here we have to put together now. Will go on there, and again I will wait. I'll put that on first, and then we'll just attach this onto the other side. Now that piece is in here. These are these small pieces. We can put this together separately from that, so I'll put that aside. Let's see if we can do this without making a mistake. Okay, so we've got this one like this. It's showing these attachment points like this. I'm going to make sure it's up the right way. Looks like it is there. That's going to go like that, which it does. And there's a little piece in there, comes through that hole. Okay. That looks about right. Now this was the one that had a bit of plastic on the inside, and again I need to trim that a little bit more so that this piece sits in there flush. See? So just gonna carefully trim that out. That's it. Really have to make sure that's flat in there. That's it. Again, we test fit. That's it there. Alright, so I can glue that in now, I think. Safe to do that. Yep. There's a little piece there that I didn't sand properly. Just got to touch that up. That's smooth, the connection point. I've actually got some sanding sticks on their way. Because of that, like, it's no good using paper like this. You want a solid sanding stick. I do have some here, but they're too coarse. So yeah. There's still up a bit too. I can sand that back a bit more. Yeah, just running a fingernail across there. As soon as you can't feel anything, you know it's all right. That's it. It's good. All right. Now we can put that on. And make sure it's the right way up. And this. There. It going like that. Just double checking to make sure that it's not the wrong way around. It can only go one way. Just like that. Yeah, that's it. My concern is this piece here. And I'm fairly sure that doesn't matter. Okay, let's glue it. 2. Okay. Then we got this little piece here that looks like a, I don't know, some sort of a screw or spring it's supposed to look like. That's got to go in there. There's a little location tab on the inside of there. Showing which way that's going to go on face. And this is going to be a case of where we need to use some tweezers. Just do a quick test fit. Yep, that's fine. Yep, so we'll put that in there. Let's make sure it's on that tab, which it is. Touch glue in there. That's it. All right, that one's done. Finally. All right, so now I'll just give it a few seconds to dry and then we can attach it onto here and move on to putting this side on. Okay, so I've got the little piece here in position. Just gonna touch it with some quick setting in there and there. That's it. Give it a few seconds. And that should be it. There you go. Give that a moment to dry and then we can go and attach this side. Okay, so I've just put this other side of the chassis on. I'm just holding it here, I haven't glued anything. Making sure it all lines up properly, and it does. So that's a good thing. So let's first of all attach this front cross member. Give that a bit of glue in there. Just hold that. Probably using way too much, but I want to be sure it's working okay. I'm trying to figure out my camera's focusing. I have problems with it. I can't use it on autofocus because it zooms out between my hands and the mat and the focus switches. And I want it to focus on exactly what I'm doing. So I put it on manual focus and focus on the mat. So anything down here is in perfect focus. That's on the mat. But just raising it up here to where I'm holding things and working on them brings them slightly out of focus, which is a shame. Okay, now we're going to put this one on here. Two. Yeah, so when I bring it up to here, it goes out of focus. It's hard to get that range that I need from it. So anyway, I'll do my best to keep my work down close to the mat, and you can see but it's focused down there. Okay, move along. Do this one. Just touch that, touch that. Give it a few seconds. Gives you an idea of the size of this truck when you see the chassis go together. This one, put you in properly. That one's in. Just want to touch there, touch there. Okay. Alright, so that's pretty much glued now. That's gone on well. That's the orientation we have for the instruction book. Let's have a look. So now we've got all that part. So step one is done. How about that? And we're 20 minutes into the video. Not bad. Okay, so now I'll put this in the container. Put that somewhere safe as we move on to step two, which is the fuel tank. So what we'll do is, it's saying from A and there's B2. So these parts here are actually photo etch, and this is a template that they need to be folded around. I'm going to leave that for the moment because I need to work out what I'm going to use to heat that up. All I really have is a cigarette lighter, and that's not really ideal. So we'll see how we go, because this needs to be annealed so that it can be bent, because there's no way you're going to get that curve bending that piece of photo etch. But in the meantime, we've got some photo etch here that doesn't need bending. It goes onto this, which is the fuel tank. So I think it's quite safe to, just looking at this, there's a couple of parts to go on the chassis, including the fuel tank and the photo etch. So we'll do the fuel tank first. So we need number A3 and A4. Let's have a look what we got. Okay, so A3 and A4, there's our fuel tanks here. So we'll just take them off. Two. This one. This one here. There we go. That's those. Now, like I did with step one, I'll take off all the parts I need for step two. So we also need EF5. Yeah, that's part EF5. Let me just find that. Okay, so here's sprue EF. Thank God I labeled these because they're so much easier to find. So EF number 5, 4, 5 is this piece here. So we'll take that off. Oops. Knocking stuff everywhere. That's that. And then we need A57. Back off our larger sprue. We go A57 is 4057 as A57 here. A57. Then it's the photo etch. It's just photo etch for the fuel tanks. It's photo etch 32. Let me just grab that. Okay, so in here we have our photo etch. What fell out then? Oh, bit of chain fell out then. Be careful. Anything else in there? No. Good. Better put that in there. I'll remember that's there. So of the photo etch we need PE 32, and there's 4 of them. 32. 32. Is that right? 32 times 4. Yeah, it looks like I'm there. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so guess we better take those off. Okay, so for removing photo etch, I find this piece of tile. I've been using this for, gosh, well, since I started modeling almost, probably about 4 or 5 months after, when I realized that this is the best thing to use. Just went down to a local tile place and asked, they'll give you a free sample. And yeah, that's all you need to work on. It's a nice solid surface. It's as good as the day I got it. There's not a single mark on it, as you can see. And it's perfect for cutting photo etch. Okay, so this photo etch has a bit of plastic over it to protect it. So we'll take that off. And it's on both sides, I think. Just see if I can get this off. Yeah, it is. Oh, one more thing, and I'll do this now, is I always wash my hands. Wash my hands before, every time I take a break or whatever from modeling, but specifically for photo etch. It is so easy for the grease and stuff on your fingers that you don't realize is there to get on that photo etch and stain it and mark it. And not that it's going to do any damage, but it may affect you painting it later. So always make a habit of dishwashing liquid, give your hands a clean, and then safe to handle everything. So I'll be back in a second when I do that. Okay, back with clean hands. Now we can peel this off. Now I want to leave this on, put it back on if I can, so I'm not going to peel it all the way off. Just get it back like that. Now, what I do too is I have a separate knife for photo etch. And these are my knives I use. These are the Icky Sticky knives. Check them out on their website, they're quite good. They're high carbon steel, they last a long time, and you get plenty of spare blades when you buy this set. This set comes with 2 knives and your spares. But always have a fresh knife blade in, make sure it's sharp. And let's just take this off. the idea is to get it up as close as you can to the edge, and that will come off like that. Now I've left the sticky on the other side, plastic, just so that this is not going to ping off someplace where we don't want it. And you can see that that's just going to lift straight off now. Just carefully run that under there. There you go. Might need a little bit of sanding just on that top edge there, but otherwise it's come off very neat. And that's the fact because you have a sharp knife. So let's get the next one off here. That one, two, this one under here. Should be it. Lift that off now. Very, very delicate stuff. That one. They come off fine. That doesn't need any sanding. Then we've got another two more here. One. Two, three little tabs. Four. Make sure that's off. It is. Wasn't cut quite through on there. There it is now. Make sure that's off. Yep. There you go. And one more. So, there. And there. Good. Lift that off. There we go. There's the four pieces. Put our plastic back over to help protect it. You'll notice there's no fingerprints on there. It's nice and clean. We'll put that back in its little container there. Good. Okay, so there's our photo etch. And it's going to be tricky to put on. So what I'm thinking is, going by the instructions here, it's probably going to be better to put that on after we've attached the two halves of the fuel tank together. Then we can place that on top. Yeah, so we'll put that aside for now. Let's have a look at these. Make sure these are going on the right way. So that's that way. And this goes on top like that. All right, it's not going to go down because I've got to trim some pieces off. But yeah, I'll clean this up now and attach this, and we'll come back and pop our photo etch on. Okay, we're back in a second. Okay, so I've got this all cleaned up. I also did the other two pieces that we need to put on this cross member, and now we just need to put a bit of glue on here. Just go like this, a bit there. Run it under here. There we go. I think that's all right there. Just get that point in there, a little bit in there. There you go. Just got to be careful not to get it on my fingers, otherwise it's, you know, you're going to end up with fingerprints on it. That's the last thing we want. So that looks pretty good. All right, I'll just let that dry for a bit, and then we can start working on that photo etch. Like I said, these two bits are trimmed up and ready to go on as well. We might be able to do that now, actually. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's have a look at that. Everything's the right way around. Make sure it's the right way up, which it wasn't. There we go. Now it is. Turned it over, and then I saw another little connection point that I forgot to trim off. Gosh, gotta be careful of that, don't I? I'll just get that trimmed up. Sand it. Yeah. Good. Everything else looks okay. All right, so now on that we need to put this one here. And it's gonna go like that. Get it in the right place this time, eh? All right, so it's actually displaying going this way while it goes on. So we might as well do it with the right orientation. As you can see here, it needs to go down in there. So it needs to go, I think it's going to go like that. That looks right. Okay, just double checking. That sort of looks right. No, it doesn't, because I'm doing it upside down. Okay, I'm going to turn that over and then put that in there. There you go. Wow. So just goes to show how easy it is to make a mistake. I mean, that could have gone on there, even though it seemed to fit. Not as well as that fits there, though. That's perfect. because that's where it's meant to be. All right. Sure that is sitting right where it should be. Yep. Okay, I'm just going to glue that. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I got that on. It went on fine. I just had to use a couple little clamps to hold it as I applied the glue because there's just no space in there to be able to do that without risking getting some on my fingers. But that's glued in, no problems. Now the other piece, this one here, which was piece A57, the photo etch actually attaches to this. That goes in like it is there. I've put it there, but it's not glued in. It's just sitting there. So I just made sure it was fitting properly. And it is. So now I'm going to glue that. And then there was a piece I missed that goes into the little hole in the end there, A31. So I need to take that off the sprue and put that on. But for the moment, we're pretty right to glue this piece on. Just needs to touch it there, touch it there, and we're good. All right. So I will grab that other piece off the sprue, which was piece A31, clean it up, and then we'll attach that. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I got this little piece off here. You can hardly see, it's tiny. And it just needs to go the right way around, straight there like that. So I'm going to just glue that in place. And that finishes that bit. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so that is glued on the end there. Quite simple. The only problem I have is with these. These are good to see, but they tend to put a curve on things because of the lens. And when you're trying to wear these and at the same time make sure something's straight, it's very difficult. So I need to go to an optometrist and get some glasses properly made up. My other ones are just cheap ones you buy in a chemist for $10. They're a magnify, that's all they do, but they still make it a bit tricky when you try and put things on straight. The curve of the lens distorts. No one else had that problem, so apparently an optometrist, if I spend the money and get some proper glasses, they can adjust for that effect. All right, that's done. I'll put this somewhere safe and we'll get the fuel tank and photo etch on. Back in a sec. Okay, so the photo etch. So I've got one, I don't know if you can see it, there's one piece sitting on there. It's not glued yet. I just fitted it to make sure it can go in position properly. But it is tiny. Now, it's basically representing straps on the fuel tank from what I can tell, and it needs to sit in there like that, and then we put another one here and two more over that side. Now what I do is I put a little bit of glue on a piece of paper here, and I'll be using the Icky Sticky medium CA glue, which I just picked up and realized probably need to order some more soon. And then I use this, which is a little piece of wire, copper wire, glued into the end of a pen. I've had this for over a year. It's fantastic, and all I'll do is I'll touch the glue, touch where I want it to go, and put our photo etch. And then and then you can just burn this with a cigarette lighter and melt the glue off at the end. That's as good as new again. All right, so let's see. That's going to fit pretty much like that. Okay. All right, and we're going to do this on camera. Let's do one of them, eh? Yeah, let's do one. So what I can do, oh, and another trick, I'll show you this, is if you get a bit of blue tack, keep it rolled up in a ball like that. When you put this somewhere while you're working on it, it'll hold it there. It's not going to blow away, or sneeze, it's not going to fly off somewhere. Holds it securely. You can place your glue and then pick it up from this because it holds it at the angle you want. It's all fine. So what we need to do is put a bit of glue on the side of here where the photo etch will lean and touch, and then a touch of glue down on here, and that'll be enough to hold it. So we're using the medium CA glue here. Just put the tiniest little dot there. Grab our bit of wire like this. We'll put the glue on there. Then we'll put a little bit of glue in there. And just a touch in the center there. Now let's position it. Turn the light on my visor to help. Like that. That looks about right. Make sure that's sitting flush like we want. Yep. All right, so that's one. The glue's starting to set now. And we'll just place the next three in their positions, which you don't need to watch. You've seen me do one. All right, I'll be back in a second. We'll have a look how that looks when it's done. Okay, welcome back. So I discovered a bit of a problem. The tank wasn't sitting straight. It seemed like it was just off a bit. The instructions weren't clear, and I wasn't sure if it was correct or not. It just wasn't lining up with the other tab underneath there. And I'm trying to figure out what's wrong, you know, and I looked through the instructions and yeah, they weren't clear, you know. It showed it going down and sitting, this tab sitting underneath there. And even when I went forward in the instructions and tried to look ahead, even then I couldn't quite see a picture that really showed it clearly. So anyway, it turns out that this cross member here had actually was not sitting in the correct location point under there. All right, so I had to, so it needed to move back a little bit so it would be sitting in the little slot where it's meant to be. I don't know how I missed that, but I need to be much more careful considering we're only on step 2. So fortunately I've got some Icky Sticky debonder, and I've just brushed that on there a little bit and just slowly wiggled and wiggled and wiggled, and it's come loose, and I've been able to move it over into the other spot. I'm just waiting for this debonder to evaporate, and then I'll put some more glue in there, and then we should have no problem sitting our tank back in there straight. So yeah, it was a bit of a concern. Let me glue this now. This should be all right. Get this back on. So we just need to touch that back in there. And a bit of glue in there. That's it. I'm going to let that dry. Well, I don't even need to actually. This should be fine. So now this has two little notches in the top there where they locate, and then the photo etch sits over the other side. Well, that goes under, if you know what I mean. So basically it's going to go across a bit, down. They're going to sit down on there. Oh, that's much better, and that's going to go up, and that's perfectly. So you can see how that's in line now, whereas it was off center down here. So yeah, now it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, then I'll glue this in and we'll come back and have a look. Okay, we're back, and now we need to deal with this photo etch that needs to be annealed and bent. I found the template, which it doesn't tell you on the instructions which sprue it is. Apparently it was on FD sprue, and it's piece number 2, so that's fine. Now there's our 2 pieces of photo etch here, and we just need to take those off, which I'll do now, and heat them up, which I have yet to figure out how I'm going to do that properly. I think a lighter should be okay if I can just hold it with a pair of old tweezers. It's just a matter of heating it up. All right, so anyway, I'll get these off and then we'll come back. Okay, welcome back. So I've had a go at this. I've heated this up with my cigarette lighter, which worked fine. Then I put it in our little jig here, and I'll just put it back in there. Actually, it won't go back in because I've manipulated a bit, but once I got that straight edge on and I just bent it around, and then inside there's a little bit tricky. So what I did was found an old airbrush needle, and I used that to push it in, and that got the general shape right. And then I've come over to our part to test, and we got that goes on there, and that will sit in there, and there it is. I just need to bend that up just a fraction, a little more. Just took a little bit of manipulating, but definitely you have to soften that metal by heating it up. Otherwise you're really going to struggle. But yeah, so this part here just needs to go up just a fraction like that, and in like that. We'll put it on there, and that will go in there like that. Again, it just needs a little bit of manually bending it to get it exact, but that's pretty much it right there. Okay, and that's one. I'm just going to bend that a little bit more. Like that. And that will go down like that. That's looking much better. Just needs to bend down a little bit. Like that. Like that. That's it. Put those on and that on. There it is. There you go. That's one done. Obviously I'll use a bit of glue, but that's it. So I'll just go ahead and anneal the other one, and we'll come back and have a look at them. Back in a sec. Okay, back and it's done. That was even simpler than the first one, which usually is after you've attempted it one time. It's usually a bit easier the second time. But yeah, they've gone on really well. And perfectly good shape. They're not glued on, they're just sitting there, so it's exactly the position I want. I'll just put a touch of super glue in there to hold them, and we're done with that. Okay, I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, so done, glued on, happy with them. I'll put this aside now and we'll move on to step 3. So we've got the leaf springs to be installed there. So let's get those pieces off. We need A66 and 67. There we go. A66 and 67 are there. Just trying to check, make sure they're easy to tell apart from one another. Otherwise, I may have a problem. Don't want to put them on the wrong way around. Well, let's keep them in the correct order anyway. All right, so let's take them off the sprue. Number 66 first. 1, 2. Connection points are there. Okay, so that's 66. '67, 66, 67. I'll keep them as they are, as they're illustrated in the magazine, in the instructions. Then we need E, F2 and F1. EF, 2 and 1. That's a different sprue. EF, not FE. Okay. Let me go find these. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, found them here. EF1 and 2. Take EF1. I'll put that there. EF2. F2. Right way around. Okay. Fantastic. All right, I will go tidy those up and we'll come back and put them on the chassis. Back in a sec. Okay, we're back and ready to put these leaf springs on. Just make sure they're on the right way. There's a little notch in the top that shows direction going by the instructions. And they sit, there's one little one that sits there and there's a little hole that it goes into. And then there's a little platform down there that sits up against the plastic location point there too. So that will just glue straight in there, and the same with the other side. Front ones are similar. Just got to make sure that it goes on top and in the right location at the back. Front, back, I'm not too sure. I think that's the front, this is the rear. Good question. And in fact, I just noticed nowhere on the instructions to tell you front or rear, to give you an idea of the direction. Anyway, all right, so let me just put this one on while we're here. It's just a matter of sliding that into there like that. And touching a bit of glue there. Just hold that. I give it about a 6-second rule. And I say it's pretty well right to let go. The other one's already located exactly where it needs to be. Yep, so I'm going to put that in. Make sure it's nice and straight, which it is. There we go. Hold that for a few seconds. And it's completely out of focus, isn't it? Anyway, that is on now. That's good. Okay, now I'm just going to do the other side and then I'll stop and we'll check the other ones. Okay, so I've just put this one on. You've got to be very, very careful because you could easily put it across too far. There's a little notch it sits in. Everything seems to have location points. So even though it doesn't show you clearly on the instructions, there are location points. So look for those from the fit in. Otherwise, you're going to be making mistakes. So I've got that one done. I'm just about to put this side on the same way, which is just goes in there and then goes on here, and again there's a little notch where it sits. That's going to go on like that there. I'm just going to glue this one down and we'll come back. Okay, that's done. I'm just going to put that aside somewhere, let that dry. That's step 3 complete. Part of that including putting the fuel tank in, we've done. Now we'll go to step 4, which is one of the diffs. So we've got the axle part and then the diff center. So I'm going to grab those off and we'll have a look at them. Also step 5 is the other diff. We've got 4-wheel drive, so we've got 2 here. So I'm going to get both of those off and cleaned up and we'll have a look at them. Back in a sec. Okay, so here's our little differentials. This one I've just put that on the back to make sure it fits perfectly, and it does. And this one I've just taken off the sprue and just cleaned it up. And there's a little sort of flattened area inside here where this can only go on one way. If it isn't sitting flush, it's because you've put it on the wrong way. That's going to go on like that. That's fine. So I'm just going to touch that with a bit of glue now, and they will be done. That'll be fine like that. I don't even have to. I could see that glue just wick itself all the way around. And this one will be the same. Just need to touch one spot there and it'll go right through. All right, so there's our 2 diffs done. So let's put those aside for the moment. Might put them in here. I'll have a look at our instructions. So now we're at 3 is done. They've been cut off and they've been put on. This has been removed from the sprue. I'm not going to cross them out. They put together. Well, actually, I'll cross that one out because that's put onto there. That one on, but we haven't fitted it onto here, onto anywhere else yet. So I'll leave that. This we can tick off. Number 2's done. Number 5's done. Number 4's done. All right. Over the page. Right. Well, it looks like those differentials we did we'll be putting on. Looks like some gearbox of some sort, possibly. Not sure, but there's quite a few bits and pieces. There's the U-bolts that hold the axles down, and quite a few other little bits and pieces. But that'll all be in the next video because we've gone just over the hour mark. I want to keep all these videos within the hour if I can. So we've made quite a good bit of progress. Let's have a quick look at where we're at. So we've got that much of our chassis done. Photo etch has gone on well, which I'm happy about, and it's all good. And then we've got our axles sitting in here. Okay, thanks guys for watching. Hit that notifications bell so you get notified of when the next video of part 2 comes out. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Lots of stuff in there on my channel if you'd like to have a look. This also is going into the playlist for the for this MiniArt truck, which already exists, and it has the unboxing and review that I did quite a few months ago. I've been waiting to do this for a while, this model. Please give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and comment below. Anything you want in the comments, it's all good for the algorithm, along with the thumbs up, so YouTube get this video out. More people that YouTube algorithm AI sees are watching and commenting and thumbs upping, the more it's going to spread it out to people who might be interested. Alright, thanks a lot guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.